Welcome to the Speak Like a Leader podcast with John Bates. Welcome to the show. With me today is Jennifer Kaplan, and Jennifer is the founder and CEO of Evolve PR and Marketing. They are the largest PR and marketing firm in Arizona. And Jennifer has won many awards, Sun Devil Awards for, alumni of who are Sun Devils and other awards. She's got a scholarship that she gives at ASU. Had a great time. Whoops. She's not very good with the microphone because it's, unbalanced.
We improvise. We can be nimble.
And she loves what she does. So, Jennifer, welcome to the show. We do this, warts and all. So
Thank
just
you
so
so much.
everybody knows, like, it's not just them, right?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. But we recover quickly. Thank
Very
you so
good.
much for having me on. I'm excited to talk with you and heard the other shows that you've done and love the conversations that you have with people.
Thank you. Well, so let's start out with, you're the founder and CEO of this large PR and marketing firm in Arizona. So you've clearly got some leadership experience. And I wonder if there are any leaders that stand out in your experience of coming up and, going through everything that stand out for you that really influence how you approach leadership with what you do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my general reaction to that is just being aware of people that are leaders in the world and in our own community,
Yeah.
and seeing what and how people respond to them and what works and doesn't work. In general, my parents, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So my brother and my parents all have had their own and have their own business. So I think that's been an inspiration for me as well. And then there
Yeah.
have been some individuals in my industry specifically that I've looked up to. But again, going back to what I just said at the beginning, I think just in general, being in tune with leaders and how people perceive a leader and taking from that good and bad and kind of finding my own way to do it
Uh-huh.
with my own organization and in the community.
So what is one example of something where you saw it out there in the world because you were paying attention and you saw someone in a leadership position do something that really worked and you took it on? Like, is there anything that stands out for you?
I think for me, and this is why I've been so active at ASU and wanting to give back,
Mm,
is I feel like Um, a lot of people can start a business and do a business and call themselves an entrepreneur, but to be a leader is way different. And I feel like giving back and being aware of your community, giving back to others in a way that inspires people.
yeah.
I feel like a leader goes beyond just a manager or an owner, and a
Yeah.
leader encompasses so much more. So I get excited when I see people who might have so many millions of dollars, but yet give so much of that back. Or you see
Yeah.
them doing something where it makes them look so real. Oh, they're jumping in their community and serving, the homeless or doing
Yeah.
something like that. To me, that is a leader. They're using their platform, they're using their success, I guess, if you will,
Yeah.
to inspire and motivate and lead others.
Yeah. It's one thing that really inspires me. I mostly work with these large mega international corporations and stuff, but I get to do a lot of work as well with business owners and of local businesses. I was just in Connecticut working with a guy named Steve Bousquet, who has a company called American Landscape. And he's such a great leader, and he's got this multi-million dollar landscaping company, and he always gives back to the community. He's constantly doing things, and I think that it's a great mark of leadership to use that position to give back. And I also think that it's good for business. Like, people like to do business with people that they perceive as being people that care and that contribute and pay it forward and things like that.
Yeah, because it's easy to show yourself as, um, the flashy or the I don't wanna say ego, but some of
Yeah.
that, and I feel like when you take yourself down to the community and, like I said, give back and show other aspects of or layers of your personality or your, um, desire to support more than just yourself, I think people, um, connect with that and they want to
Yeah.
be a part of that than just this person who's just caught up in themselves. It makes someone more real. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what really exudes leadership.
Yeah. Well, it's why we staged the mic thing at the beginning, right? To kind
Exactly.
of humanize you.
Yes. Yes.
So what's an example of a leader, anywhere, and you don't have to say their name, but what's an example of a leader that you watched and really learned what not to do?
Hmm. Um, in that realm, I feel like some high profile people. And the reason why I say that is because they shy away from a situation where maybe they can confront and they're already again in this leadership because they're recognized, and when a situation occurs they pull back or they don't kind of lean into it,
Yeah.
and so I feel like that is where you can really tarnish a reputation or disappoint people where they might put someone up and they look up to someone, and then when a situation occurs where they can be better and do better and own up to something. And it's not just a negative, but just whatever the situation is, when we see someone that takes ownership and is real and authentic in a situation,
Yeah.
um, you're like, wow, that's awesome. That's commendable. That's
Yeah.
inspiring. And I think a lot of people shy away from that because they're afraid to show any vulnerability, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, yeah.
So like, people not being willing to be vulnerable and trying to, like, hide it and shove it down and not admit it and not own it when they make a mistake and things.
Yeah, I mean, well, then you can even snowball that into kind of a crisis calm situation.
Yeah.
But no, I just think right off the bat, these days, um, well, actually, I just watched an interview on 60 Minutes or CBS Sunday Morning, one of those shows,
Uh-huh.
and they were interviewing Bill Belichick.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you heard that or saw that interview,
I
but
didn't, but tell us.
he's so accomplished, right? With all the
Mhm.
rings and
Yeah.
all the things that he's done in, the football and Brady and all that. And here he was in this interview and he has probably a lot of fans and followers and respect. And the person interviewing him asked some questions and he was like, "Well, I'd rather not answer that, or I'd
Yeah.
rather not speak to that." And I
Yeah.
thought, well, here's an opportunity. How many interviews does this guy
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
For people to be like, "Wow, like I knew I liked him, but now he just answered that." And I'm like, I even like him more now.
Yeah.
Or just opportunities to even be people like being a little bit of a voyeur,
Yeah.
in someone's life. So if it's
Yeah.
a personal question and they give a little nugget or answer about it, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
he likes this or they do that. And
Yeah.
so I feel like, because I do think he's, pretty cool as far as what
Yeah.
he's done.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was a missed
and I was a
opportunity.
little bit disappointed. I was kinda like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I was hoping for a little bit more out of that."
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be an example of where I feel like people could fall short.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about PR and marketing, and We just Mark Albert and I just had this past weekend our Media Mastery Experts live event that we do twice a year. And I keep thinking about one of the things as we were teaching people about crisis communication and how to be good in interviews. And one of the things that Mark says is do not, no matter how cool you think it is, don't say no comment, right? And don't say, I'd rather not talk about it. There are other ways to like pivot from that question you don't want to talk about that are not going to be as in your face and unsatisfying for people as I'd rather not talk about it or no comment. But one of the things that we were showing is just a complete failure of communication. I'd been a long time since I thought about this. The guy who was the CEO of BP
Oh, yeah.
when the Gulf
Uh,
tragedy happened and
the
the
spill
thing,
and all the
yeah,
yep.
it blew up and it killed a bunch of people. And then there was that horrific oil spill that just went on and on and on. And in the interview, he said, of course I'm upset about it. Like no one's more upset about it than I am. I want my life back. And it was like, ooh. And he got excoriated,
Yep.
which he totally deserved because it was just so obvious where his focus was, right?
Yeah, well, you've got an example. I used to use this example all the time. I've kinda gotten away from it now because I don't know if a lot of people would remember this or care, but I used to use Tiger Woods, another sports reference,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
all the time because when he had an incident with his wife and he was kind of in a bad place and there was I don't know, golf club hitting and they just had some, things going on that were
Yeah.
personal and
Yeah.
it bled into his, professional
Yeah.
life, and he didn't give a comment for days. And here again is this person who is just so accomplished in their craft and in their sport and
Yeah.
looked up by so many people, and he waited and
Yeah.
waited. And then,
And
the other thing that happens in those situations is then the rumors or the
yeah,
speculation
exactly. Everybody starts filling in the blanks for you.
or the distrust, or
Yeah.
disappointment, like your example with
Yeah.
BP. And so, as hard as it is in those situations, I think it's important to make sure that the crisis comm is there. I mean, we tell our clients have a plan in place. You buy insurance for your car, not
Yeah.
anticipating an accident, but
Yeah.
if one should happen, you're covered. And
Yeah.
so I think people just get emotional and reactive and don't know what to do. But back
Mhm.
to the leadership, I think it could really create a domino effect. And then your leadership just gets completely sucked out, done.
Yeah.
Like you're a leader and this is how you're responding. You're a leader and this is how you're acting.
Yeah.
So I think people need to be more cognizant of that.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think about one of the things that was actually kind of an eye opener to me. Like I admit, I was super naive in my early days in business, especially when it was early days of the .com world. I was getting interviewed all the time and I did not understand how much preparation most people that are really good at that put in, you know? Like before you take that interview, like people that are really good, they will prepare. And recently there was the scandal during the president, election where like it was like, oh, Kamala got leaked the questions. It's like, no, she didn't get leaked the questions. She actually sat down for days with her team, I'm imagining, like I would,
Yep.
and thought about all of the most obvious questions that we're going to get asked, and then prepared
Yep.
beforehand some really great answers and practiced those out loud and scenarioed those and thought about it, you know?
Yep. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but you bring up a good point because people probably said that, and we don't need to focus on her because I want to apply
No,
this to
yeah,
other situations. People say that because I feel like maybe they sense it being scripted
yeah,
and not feeling authentic.
yeah, Which
So
is a
going
whole
with
other problem a lot of people have,
yes,
but yeah.
yes, which also will resonate with people to make them say, "Wow, the BP guy or the tiger or whoever came
Mhm.
off so empathetic and emotional,"
Yeah.
and I mean, that's in one scenario, it doesn't have to just be emotional,
Mm-mm.
but just came off so authentic.
Mhm.
So I think sometimes people are like, I don't know. That
Yeah.
seemed kind of scripted. You didn't seem you seemed overly prepared,"
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because I do think that being prepared can set you up more for success,
Oh, way more.
but that authenticity, people kind of like go,
So
I
2
don't
things.
know.
Let's see what you think of this. Because one thing that I tell people is that I used to be that guy because I was really good at winging it. I won all kinds of contests winging it. Watch out for that microphone. And, I won all kinds of contests winging it. And so I would just go wing it at these business conference speeches and stuff because I thought that if I practiced, I would look scripted and robotic, right? Well, what I realized when I first started going to TED and I learned how hard those people work and why those TED Talks are actually so good, it's because they practice like there's this place where you can practice so much it looks like you practiced. And that's not the goal. And I call that place the Valley of Awkwardness in honor of Chris Anderson of TED. And to get across the Valley of Awkwardness, it takes more practice. There actually is a place where you practice so much that it looks like you didn't practice, and that's the goal. And then Mark Albert always, one of the things we both do, but he says it this way is when you're speaking, when you're in front of the press or when you're on a stage or whatever, you're not writing that for the eye like you would in a magazine, you're writing it for the ear.
Mhm.
So if you really consciously make sure that these things that you may want to script, you may want to script them for the most important things. Maybe you want to script them down to the absolute last period and letter, but it's got to be for the ear. And you have to practice it so many times that you remove any of the things that make it seem inauthentic or robotic by practicing it so much.
Yeah, and I feel like I agree. You're spot on. I find that and I've gotten away from doing it as much and more like talking points,
Uh-huh.
but when I do have it more scripted and
Mhm.
I flub up, I'm like, "Oh, wait, I needed to follow, like, the script," and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
even
yeah,
if you find yourself in a moment of making a comment or a joke or a you interject something, then you have to, like, get back into the lane where you
yeah,
were. So if it's also if it's too scripted, I feel like it can prevent you from, you know like, if you go off the rails and you're like,
yeah,
and I've seen that with people, they're following a
yeah,
script too much, and then their mind
yeah,
wanders or something happens, and now they're totally screwed up.
yeah. Unless it's a very rare instance, I do not do word for word because it's what you're I call that the alphabet song effect. Sing the alphabet song from J, go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J,
Right.
K, L, M, N, O, right? You got to go back to the beginning because it's all stuck together like one thing in order. And if you've memorized everything word for word, that's a really big problem. I like to have people work from a very Spartan outline, but do it so many times that it starts to just come out the same every time because it's actually how they naturally would say that, you
Yes.
know?
Totally. And I think that leadership, when people are like, "Oh, I love so and so, I love hearing so and so talk," or even your
Mhm.
reference with the TED Talks,
Yep.
is because those people, in most cases, have mastered that, and we connect with that, and we enjoy hearing them
Yeah.
speak because it comes off exactly how it should,
Yeah.
not scripted, authentic,
Yeah.
real, with empathy, with engagement to the audience,
Yeah.
all of the things. And it's a lot, and that is a big responsibility on a leader because there's some
Yeah.
great leaders who may not be great speakers, but
Yeah.
they have to work on it. Um, but they should have good PR around them, and I don't mean that as a plug, but like we're saying with, crisis calm or, making sure they've written the right points down to say the right
Mhm.
thing. Um, it is an important factor, and it's
Yeah.
image.
So let's talk about like the difference between PR and marketing and you know why you might want to do one or the other or both or neither or whatever.
All right. Well, the PR is earned media. So that editorial is going to come off more authentic.
Yeah. So
And
let's let's pause for a minute cuz just so that everybody knows, earned media, that's what Mark and I do as well. We help experts earn media. And so if you like if you are an expert or if like you're doing something that's so interesting that the press come to you and quote you or write an article about you or something, that is called earned media as opposed to paid media, which is all the advertisements in the magazine or all the advertising segments on the TV news. That's paid media. But when you get brought in and they say, so, Jennifer, you're a PR and marketing expert. Tell us about what you think about the new developments in blah, blah, blah. Right now, you get that media and you don't have to pay for it. Well, you do, but you're paying with your expertise.
correct. Yeah, exactly.
You're
So,
earning it.
yep. And I say, our clients pay us. So they are paying if we
Mhm.
want to be
Yeah,
technical.
for sure.
And then we turn around and get them that exposure
Mhm.
via TV, radio, print, online, all of those platforms and mediums that, you can do paid commercials or ads on.
Yeah.
Um, with the editorial, depending on the message that you want to get across, I do feel like with the ad and the paid side, you can say whatever you want because you're paying
Mhm.
for that space or that time.
Yeah.
With the earned side, it's not that way. We tell
Yeah.
our clients make it educational, informational. It
Yeah.
can't be a commercial.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, you don't get invited back and that segment may not air.
exactly, for sure. So depending on too what you want to get across and the time frame that you want, a 30 or 60-minute second commercial,
Mhm.
might be fine to stick a logo of a brand that everyone knows with some cool something in there and get your message across versus talking for 3 to 5 minutes on a segment
Yeah.
and, hoping you can weave in what you want to weave in.
Right.
So they do say that editorial is about a 3.5 times greater impact than the ad because people know
Yeah.
that the ad was paid for.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
come from the school of thought that I believe you need all of it.
Yeah.
Even though we don't do the paid, I
Mhm.
do believe there's value in people seeing it here and here and here and here, just like I
Yeah.
believe people need to do social media. We don't do social media, but
Yeah.
I love nothing more if they make sure they're posting and sharing and tagging and doing all the things.
Yeah.
'Cause you want them to see them there. Oh, maybe they saw your ad over here, then they heard you speaking as an expert on this. So I feel like it needs to be a full prong approach,
Yeah.
to your outreach and your branding and the awareness. But yeah, I mean, being a thought leader and expert is the pitch, even if it's a chef or a realtor or a lawyer or
Right.
the landscape guy talking about trends in, you know, landscape design,
Yeah.
whatever. The other thing I say too with the PR side is perception is reality.
Mhm.
So if Steve, your landscape guy, was the one talking about in his city and his market, if he was the one on the earn side talking about those trends, I mean, my gosh, I should call that guy. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
if the TV had him on, and he did an interview about these latest designs,
Yeah.
then I need to call him. Where his commercial might not, people might not see that layer as much, or they know, well, this
Exactly.
guy's just trying to do an ad. But I
Yeah.
want to see the ad and I want to see him talking and I'm going to go to their social media and see
Yeah.
what kind of before and afters of design they've done. And so I think
Well, it
all of
is
it is important.
and this has changed over the years. Like I've been started getting media coverage back in 1994, and it was a very different world. Like people couldn't go check out my LinkedIn and they could, like most people didn't even have a good website yet. And
Yep.
but now I just want to emphasize what I hear you saying as an expert or as a business owner or as someone who it has a high responsibility position in a large multinational organization. There is such a great opportunity to become a thought leader in your field, right? Be, say things that are helpful and useful and expert content on social media, get on stages wherever you can, you know,
Award
buy.
submissions is another one,
Uh-huh.
rankings and best ofs, I wanna your
Mhm.
guy, just using him as an example.
Yeah.
Again, top landscape design firms, and he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that maybe as my source, or he
Yeah.
did something to give back to the community and just got an
Yeah.
award for
Yeah.
it. So those are all other ways that he can market himself, but get
Yeah.
people to want to connect with his brand.
Yeah. Well, and that's a really good one that I think most people don't think about. And I even think that some people would feel like maybe there's, like, but well, wait a minute, you only got that award because you submitted for it. Well, okay, how are they supposed to find people? Right? Like, go submit for it. Like, why
Yep,
wouldn't you do that? You know what I
yep.
mean?
And in a lot of cases, you have to back it up with
Yeah, of course.
numbers or, votes or whatever. So
Yeah.
if you're able to substantiate that, and whether there's one other person in the pool or the field or 200, and you
Yeah.
win or you're in that top ranking, there's some validity to that.
Well, I mean, think about it, like, every restaurant that I ever go in, like, they've got their the ones that are really good, they have their, best of
Plaques.
Salt Lake
Yep,
City 2024,
yep.
number 1 Thai restaurant,
Or what about when I see those and I'll say to my husband, "Oh, I just saw that this restaurant got blah, blah, blah. We need to
Exactly.
go check it out." So
There's the new business. Yeah.
100%. I like
So,
it.
so these days, I think there is this. I mean, and oh my God, you could do it full time all day, every day, and never do your work, right? But there is this combination of social media, public speaking, paid ads,
PR.
having
Yep,
some help with PR,
yep,
getting earned media,
yep,
and like if you can figure out how to do a full court press on that, you can really do a lot of good for yourself.
yep. Yeah, and then, parlay in, do you wanna highlight people on your team?
Yeah.
Are you doing something community philanthropy? Is it a milestone at your business? Are you making an
Yeah.
acquisition? I mean, there's so many angles that you can take that would hit different platforms at different times too. More of a
Right.
business angle, more of a fluffy, lifestyle angle, or
Mhm.
so, and I say too, it's an asset, the PR.
Yeah.
So you can repurpose that coverage or those media hits on your social, or
Social.
have a media tab on your website. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways. So just that one hit can
Yeah.
have some longevity too.
Yeah. So now that Mark Albert and I are no we have gone on stuff that's recorded on the internet right now, and we've said, look, don't waste your money on a PR firm. You don't need to get a PR firm. Right? You're an expert. You can go do this. And so, on one hand, I would stand behind that because I have wasted a ton of money on PR in my day. Um, on the other hand, I've also had enormous, unbelievable, gigantic hits with PR. And I think that really what Mark and I are saying, I'd love your honest opinion on this either way, whatever. But I feel like when people are like, all right, you're already on the news already, you're established. Certainly we could help you, but you don't need this thing that we're doing, this part of it. But when people want to go out and they want to become speakers, or they want to go out and they want to be seen as experts and invited on television, invited on podcasts and all, and, invited to speak, I believe that in a way it's sad, but I feel like it's gotten a lot less forgiving out there. Right. And if you go out and you don't have a great message, and you are not already good, and you haven't been media trained, and you don't understand what's going on with, like a 3-minute interview, like that's super fast, and you're getting the first things that you're trying to say out of your mouth. And like, okay, we're done. Bye. And like, so if you don't know that stuff and you're not good at that stuff already, it's really important, I think, to get good at that. And so, we work with people on how to create sound bites and how fast it goes that time in the studio. And at our live event that we just did, people got an interview in a world-class television studio with Mark Albert, who's really
Mm,
working hard to make sure they look good, which is not always going to be the case, but it's a
yeah.
great first time, right? And then they go to this woman who was the voice of All Things Considered for a long time in the podcast. And then I work with them on the stage, and they go away with these great videos of themselves in these settings that they can then share, so that the people know, oh, okay, this is not a complete unknown risk. Like, at least they're this good, right? So that's kind of, my message to people is from the speaking world, and I think it applies into the PR world. The speakers that are really, really successful are the speakers who have a speech that is so good that every time they give it, 2 or 3 people walk up afterwards and say, "Gee, will you give that exact same speech to my group?"
Mhm.
And I think it's similar. If, when people who are really good get on television and they make some comments and give their expert opinion, and they're pithy and they're soundbite machines, and
Mhm.
they're interesting, all the other reporters in that metro area are
Yep.
writing their name down, right? Because they're going to go to them next time and hope they can get them first. And so I think that there's some real meaningful preparation that people can do before they go spend what can be a lot of money with the PR firm.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's golden that you're doing that. Um, that should be a common stance thing
Yeah,
for businesses, because they think they want it, they think they might be good at it, but then they
yeah,
do get scared or shy away or
yeah,
kind of blow it.
yeah,
I didn't know it was going to go that
yeah,
fast, like you said, or I didn't realize they were gonna ask me these questions. And,
yeah,
some people can pivot well in the moment, and others it's harder for them to do it. And
yeah,
then it does end up being a waste. Truly. Like I've
uh,
I've seen that. I'm not
yeah,
just gonna say anyone can do it and should do
yeah,
PR.
yeah,
I love that I mean, that should even be like a good onboarding 101 for PR people. I mean, we talk about
yeah.
media training, we talk about things like that, but it should be like a before you're, go to the next
Before we
stage
turn you
of
loose, yeah.
yes, yes. Um, yeah, I think that that unknown can be just a big question mark. They've never when would someone who just starts PR ever be in a TV studio?
No, right? How do you get that?
That's not
How do
like
you like,
yeah. So as a kid,
that's
I
hard to
mean, it's
get.
not like yes, exactly. Um, so I love that you guys are doing that. I think that that's
Yeah.
extremely helpful, and, it's gonna make the value of what they're investing in, with PR or any other probably mostly PR, but
Yeah.
podcasts, like you said, and social media and other things they're doing,
Yeah.
more beneficial. They might see more of
Yeah.
that ROI.
That's right. Yeah, I think they will. And I, and that's always what I say is like, once you've worked with us and you're good at this and you're seeing that this is worth doing, then maybe you do go get a PR firm and let them do the work and whatever. But I think that it's a really important thing to make the investment in yourself to be good at this. And it makes such a big difference, you know?
100%. Yeah. I mean, because again, at the end of the day, they want their message to come across.
Yeah.
We've even seen with some nonprofits from a successful TV segment, and granted, they're grabbing a little more at the heartstrings with the viewers,
Of course. Yeah,
but
yeah.
someone will call and make a donation to that organization because they heard a great interview or they're helping the pet or the child or the family, and they're
Yeah.
so moved by it. So, but I've also seen it where they had a great opportunity and they just missed it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I love that. That's great. I want to.
So, I mean, and I think that I don't know, like, I don't know that most people, I mean, I most people, some people, whatever. Like, let me put it in my experience instead. I had a client who was the CEO of a company called Second Genome. And
Hmm.
I was working with him and he said, "Hey, I just got a call. The guy from Fast Company," and this was years ago when Fast Company was like the magazine for
Yep.
business in Silicon Valley and everything. He said he's going to come over and he's going to meet with us because he's going to make us part of a roundup article that he's doing about companies in our industry. And they were these new companies that were leveraging what we knew about the biome then, and the realization that, oh my gosh, like there's this whole other thing we haven't even thought about yet. And and so we dove deep on PR, media training, preparation. It was for a written magazine, so it was a little bit easier. But that guy, Peter, took the time and he just did everything I asked him to do. Really, really prepared and thought about it and everything. And then the guy from Fast Company came by and met with him. He showed him around, met with his, main sales or marketing guy, whom I had trained a little bit too, and who had done some of the work. And then stayed for longer than they expected. And then as he was leaving, he said, Peter, I'm not going to include you in this article. And for a second, yeah, he was like crestfallen, right? He's like, what? And the guy's like, yeah, no, I want to come back next week because I want to do a feature article on you guys.
Wow.
Now, you can go Google right now, Fast Company Second Genome, and it is they got this photo of like a close up of this woman's belly, and then instead of skin tone it was like the galaxy, right?
Wow.
Stars and everything,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
dude, I could, like, it's such an awesome photo. I could never have done that myself. And then if you read the article, every single one of the crafted sound bites, or quotes that we practiced working into the answer multiple times and saying different ways and everything. All that stuff was in there. And I don't think we could have done a better job writing an article about Second Genome than Fast Company did. And that was not an advertisement.
Wow.
And it was like, and oh my gosh, did their company just go pew,
And what a testament to preparation
for
and,
sure.
knowing what opportunity you have. And you said this earlier, you do good on even on a local TV segment, and those
Yeah.
reporters are writing down, you know, the person's name to call on
Call
them
Jennifer
for.
next time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think that just goes back to the preparation, which we talked about at the very beginning about speaking and
Yeah.
leadership and, the way that you present yourself. I mean, they're all sort of different applications, but I love that. I love that. They didn't know what to expect. They came in, got more knowledge, and, they were impressed by,
Yeah.
the way they presented themselves and the information. And that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Well, this is the nice thing about working with Mark Albert is he was a reporter for so long. And like, reporters have a job to do,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it could involve you as an expert. And if you know what their job is and you know what their pain points are and what they need and how you can help them and how you can be really supportive and serve them, like, why wouldn't they want to work with you? If so, it's pretty cool.
100%. Yeah,
So,
that's a good story.
Jennifer, so why did you do this? Why did you, because you founded Evolve PR and Marketing from the ground up. Like, why? Why would you do
Hmm.
that?
Well, my mom would say that I was born doing PR, so the senior most
Okay.
talkative in high school and some of the other foundational things that I just had in my
So
personality.
what did that look like in high school?
I
What
wanted to
did
be a
you
sports agent.
Okay,
I wanted to be yeah, I mean, I love sports. I know I made a couple
you
sports
did.
analogies today,
Yeah, yeah,
but I like sports. I feel like it brings people together and it's a social
uh-huh,
thing and it's just fun.
yeah,
Um, so to me, it was more of a sports agent where you are promoting your athlete.
yeah,
Um, but I don't think the law school was something I wanted to go down, and that was
yeah,
something that I knew would have to happen. So when I went to ASU and studied communications with an emphasis in public relations, so I
uh-huh,
still was leaning in that path. And at 30, I actually started a business with a business partner, a PR firm, and we had
uh-huh,
that for 5 years. And then um, I sold my equity to her to go on my own and started Evolve. So I've
uh-huh,
been 20 years in the industry, and I seriously love every day. Like
yeah,
sometimes I don't even want to sleep. I want to work
yeah,
late, get up early, see
yeah,
what the day is going to be. I love what I do and I love the people I work with, my staff, the clients, the media. Um, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we're at like 120 clients, 25 staff and growing. So
and it's kinda like your sports agents for local businesses and experts and maybe not so local businesses and
yeah, no, totally. You're absolutely right. I mean, as a sports agent, maybe we're not negotiating contracts as much
yeah,
on behalf of our clients, but we are promoting them and putting them in the best light,
yeah,
to get maybe the Nike deal or
yeah,
which is equivalent to maybe ticket sales or
yeah,
acquisition, whatever their focus is. But
yeah.
yeah, so that was kind of how it got channeled and I haven't turned back since. So really,
So,
really enjoying it.
and what was your lowest moment
Mm.
in this, progression?
I would say as an entrepreneur, I mean, I just got done saying how much I love what I do and I love the
Yeah,
business and I get up every day excited.
yeah,
And that, even on the lower days, hasn't changed.
yeah,
But there are still to this day, moments and times where headaches or heartaches or,
yeah.
clients coming and going or staff coming and going or
Well,
frustrations with things not happening.
was there
Um,
ever a minute when you were, like, considering giving up or thought it wasn't gonna work or
no, because even when I left my business partner, I was like, "I gotta do this. I gotta
Yeah,
do it." Um, I'm I'm just continually fighting for the firm. Not fighting like I
yeah,
need to fight, you know what I mean? Just like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm continually like motivated for the mouths that I feed with my team, the commitment the clients have given us. So I think that drives me.
yeah,
And just from a personal note, I don't have kids and I only recently got married. So
uh-huh.
the other thing is the business was my baby, is my,
Yeah, yeah,
and my everything,
yeah,
even my husband, my dog, my cat. I don't have any of those.
yeah,
So I really felt this sense of commitment that
yeah.
is unconditional, that it was like that other option wasn't an option.
Wasn't an option.
Right. But those
Yeah,
days where I'm like, ugh, I could be doing something else. What am I
yeah,
doing? Where there are those hard days,
yeah,
or more challenging days, but not the give up. But I think that's just unique,
yeah,
because of the path that I had,
yeah.
um, to get here. So
Cool.
yeah, now there's no turning back.
Nope, yeah, nope, you're stuck now.
Stuck now,
S
but it's fun.
is there I noticed that we're at our time, but is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about? Anything you'd like to leave us with? I don't want to miss
Um,
anything.
no, I think that, I mean, I love the conversation about PR versus, the advertising and how it fits in with leadership and crisis comm, because I feel like it is all integrated. And I
Yeah.
love the way that, we were able to have dialogue about that, because I think that's really important. It's
Yes.
not one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really enjoyed that aspect. And no, it was fun to have the conversation and hopefully impact the listeners with some of what we shared.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Well, yeah. And, I do think that it's worth it if you've got a company, do a little scenario planning, think about how you might deal with it if that thing ever happened, right? And, uh, and then, you know, hopefully it never does.
Yeah,
I always kind of
exactly.
approach it like if I have an umbrella, it's less likely to rain,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
totally. Amen. Agree.
Cool. All right, Jennifer. Well, thank you for joining us. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
thank you for listening. As I always say, we make no difference without you. So if you enjoyed this conversation, please share it. And if you haven't yet, please give us a 5-star recommend on the podcast app that you use and give us a little bit of testimonial there so that we can reach more people. And again, Jennifer, thank you for joining us. And we will see you next time on Speak Like a Leader Show. Thank you for joining the Speak Like a Leader podcast. Go be awesome.